Did you know that there are about 180 steps to sell a home? I've condensed them here into about 10 basic steps, so if you decide to sell your home on your own without a real estate agent, hey, we all like to save money, don't get me wrong, these would be the steps you could use. Now, out of these 10 basic steps, I've put them into 3 categories. The first one is pre-listing. So what are you gonna do with your home before you actually list it, or before you put it out for sale, okay? There's a lot of preparation that goes into this. There might be conditional things that you need to take care of. Are there little repairs? Is there some painting to do? Do you need to hire an electrician, right? Those are some ways that you can clean your home, or to prepare your home. But you also want to be able to get it clean. You want to be able to depersonalize and declutter it. Those are really big steps and can go a long way. Those are things that you can do for free. You just put in a little sweat equity, and those will go a long way to preparing your home to get it ready for sale. Now, staging is a huge one. Thankfully, we have a video on staging. We actually also have a really robust guide on what to do to stage a home properly, what things to look for, what are the things to key in on, how to go about staging, what is the purpose of staging. We believe that it'll net you up to about 6% difference if you stage your home properly. That's a big deal. That can actually pay for a lot of things for you. If you consider your home is worth $500,000, could that make an extra $30,000 difference? It certainly could, okay? Now, number 2 is pricing it right. And again, we've got all kinds of videos on pricing strategies. You wanna make sure that your strategy is correct. Not just the price, but your strategy. What strategy will you employ? I'll suggest 3 real quick. One would be an auction style strategy where you would price your home under market value and in hopes that you can drive a lot of interest. Now, there's already a stigma associated with for sale by owners that a property can be bought for less than market value. You may offer it at less than market value. Know that if you do that with the right exposure, you may be able to drive some traffic. Now, are there downfalls to listing, doing an auction style approach? Certainly are. If you don't end up getting the interest, it'll be strange to up your price at some point and relist it. The market probably won't receive that well. Why did you increase your price? So once you've made that first impression with your first list price, typically prices only go down. Doesn't mean they have to go down, but if you didn't get that auction frenzy, that feeding frenzy of people showing up because they love the price on the home, then maybe that's not the right approach. The second one would be fair market value. Now, this is just understanding really what is the proper price for your home, pricing it accordingly, and offering it at fair market value. So that, and if it is at fair market value, the market will understand. So the buyers will come in, they'll go, that's a fair price, I'm willing to pay that. They might be willing to pay a little bit less, or pay a little bit more. They might pay a lot more potentially, depending on if that price really attracts people and drives people to be intrigued and make an offer. The third approach would be overpricing it. This is also a common mistake that a lot of people who do for sale by owner make. The approach would be, let me just list it at a really high price. Let me just see if I can get it. I commend the approach. In this market, you might be able to do that. And if you can get somebody to pay a really high price for your home, you still have to get it to appraise. Okay, so it is a strategy to overprice your home, but keep in mind it can stigmatize your home if it sits on the market too long. Okay. Now, the third thing that I wanted to point out to you are the disclosures. When you sell your home on your own, you're assuming all the liability for the contract, the ethics, and legal issues that go into that. There are both state required and proprietary disclosure forms that you might get from a brokerage. So there are things like affiliated arrangement agreements, seller's property disclosure, square footage disclosure, source of water addendum, lead-based paint disclosure. Do you have lead-based paint at your home? Do you not? How do you know, right? Closing instructions. The closing instructions are actually documents that show the role of a title company. If you decide to go through a title company, and I would highly, highly suggest that you do, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but you'll have to have a signed closing instructions form. There's a lot of wire fraud going on right now, so there's a lot of disclosures out there that help you address, or that brings everyone in the transaction to awareness that wire fraud is a thing, that everyone needs to be aware of it and protect against it. There's all kinds of forms and disclosures, contracts that you can obtain online. If you go to the state and then you look up real estate forms, you should be able to find them there. But understand that all these forms and disclosures, contracts, you can find them online, but there's a lot that goes into them. As you might imagine, there are classes that inform real estate agents on how to negotiate and how to sign these, what the meaning is. There are lawyers that spend a lot of time in discussing these. They come from the real estate board. After they see what's going on in real estate, then these disclosure forms are then redesigned to fit what's going on in the market, right? And so there's a lot to understand about what these forms represent, what's being said on these forms, and how to fill them out properly. If you need help, you can certainly reach out to us. But that's one of the things that you're going to need to have professional help with, most likely, unless you really feel confident that you can understand how to fill those out properly, ethically, and without legal issue. All right, let's talk about marketing. Now, marketing is one of those things that is super crucial to getting your home sold. Now, the exposure that you get as a for sale by owner is going to be critical. A lot of times you don't have access to the same things that a real estate agent would have access to. And so exposure, the lack of exposure could have you underselling your home, and you may be leaving money on the table. Okay, so the first thing I'd recommend is that if you want to sell it on your own, just contact your friends and your neighbors. Ask around, see who's interested. You might be surprised at how many people are looking to buy a home right now. If you can find somebody, that's certainly part of the battle, right? Now, if you don't have full exposure, full market exposure, you may be, as I mentioned, you may be leaving money on the table. If you go to a friend, if you go to a colleague, if you go to a neighbor and they want to buy it, is there going to be a feeding frenzy like we talked about? Is there going to be market activity that would drive the price up? Probably not. So you may be leaving money on the table. You might also find people that are looking for a deal, but that is certainly something to consider. There are a couple things that I can recommend that will help you to get that exposure. One would be to make sure that you invest in quality photography. Okay, now I think that goes without saying, but a lot of times we'll see for sale by owners really miss this step. You take a picture with your camera on your phone. Understand that iPhones and Google phones and all these things, they shoot pretty great photos these days, but it's still about angle, it's about perception. It's like, what are you trying to showcase, right? A professional photographer really understands all these aspects: lighting, exposure, what to photograph, what not to photograph. This can be crucial in marketing your home. Okay? We recommend shooting video if it serves to tell another story other than the photos. The video is not just putting the photos and setting them to music and having them shuffle from one to another. We're talking about a walkthrough video with a professional videographer, maybe somebody who has access to a drone. You want it to look like an HGTV kind of a TV show. You do not want it to look like you skimped or that you skipped a step, right? There may be other things that you can get in a video too, like the walkthrough aspect that you can't get from shooting just still shots. There might be a shot of a park, kids playing. There might be a shot of a pathway that you can walk down that's near home. Those types of things play really well. Even getting local shots from the community. All those things are really going to serve to enhance your ability to sell, and you can do that through video. Do the video if it makes sense and it supplements what you've already done with photos. Now, here's a big secret. Figure out a way to get your home on the MLS. If you can get your home on the multiple listing service, you will have exposure to your home that the realtors have. If the realtors are able to, the point of the multiple listing service is it's a database where realtors put their listings. Then they share them with one another, and that's how they get exposure. So by accessing this as a for sale by owner, you would have a similar advantage. The realtors are the ones that have the most buyers typically, right? That's what they do all day. They work with buyers and sellers. So naturally, they're going to have potential buyers for your home. If you can access that database and you can get your listing shown there, you could have a real advantage in being able to get your home sold. So look into that. There are services out there. There are people that can list it for a minimal fee. Myself, I am a full service broker. So if you end up needing full services, I'm happy to do that for you. If you just need it listed on the MLS, I have to give better representation than that, so you may look elsewhere. But that could be one of the things that could really help you get your home sold. Now, keep in mind also that signage and brochures are critical. We've all been driving down streets going, gosh, I wish there was a home for sale on this block in this neighborhood. I love this, I love the way that it feels here. If people see a sign up, they're naturally gonna stop. There should be information on that sign that helps them hopefully contact you in some way so that you can actually find out who those buyers are, interact with them, and get that exposure that your home needs. Brochures may or may not be critical, but keep in mind that if you don't have a lot of exposure, you probably do want to have brochures that you can give out to potential buyers so that they can remember the features of your home. Since they can't, if you don't have it listed online or in an obvious place where buyers typically go to find homes, then you want to be able to send them home with something so that they don't forget the features that your home has. And then also you can imagine that brochures, print brochures and those types of things can display things about your home, speak about it in a way that maybe isn't that you can't represent somewhere else. So print brochures can still have value. Point 8, open houses. Now, this is something that a lot of real estate agents will use to add exposure to a home. So you put up a sign, you announce that there's a time for people to come freely through your home. Keep this in mind, however, the National Association of Realtors says that only about 2 to 3% of home buyers actually find their home through an open house. Now, they might attend an open house that they were already aware of the house, and so they come to the open house, they want to see it a second, a third time. Maybe they want to bring their parents through. Maybe it's just another opportunity to come see the house while it's on the market. But typically people do not only find their home through an open house, or they just happen to see a house and gosh, that's the one we want. Now, there's a couple of drawbacks as well, but you may consider doing this. If you have an open house, let me suggest a few things. First of all, don't go it alone, okay? Don't do it by yourself. There are safety issues involved. It's your home ultimately. You want to be able to know who's coming through. You want to have qualified buyers. You're not going to have qualified buyers come through typically if you're just opening your house up to anybody. It could be the neighbors. It could be people who are looking for cookies and punch that day. It could be people that are trying to get out from the rain. It could be that people are driving around from place to place looking for open houses, but they may or may not be interested in your home. Why have those people through if they're not really qualified or the right type of buyer? Now, if you do end up having them through, again, like I said, don't go it alone. Make sure you've got extra support with you. Let me recommend also that you hide your jewelry, your personal items, make sure your medicines are put away. Let's be real, we live in a world where these things could happen. You could have somebody through your home and there might be some security issues involved. Ask people to sign in, okay? Get their information, get their names, get their emails. People leave illegitimate emails and phone numbers all the time, but at least you've put them through that step to make sure that you're placing an extra bit of security involved in your home showing process. Okay. Now, I would also suggest that you ask a lot of questions once you have people through. Don't just say, hey, here's the bathroom. They know that's the bathroom. Don't just say, hey, here's the kitchen. We've got a garage out there. They know that. I'm talking about asking them about qualifying questions. Do they have a home to sell? Have they already met with a lender? What is it that they're looking for in a home? Why did they come to this neighborhood? All those types of things can help you understand if you've got the right buyer on the hook or not. Okay. Now, the 9th point is, and this is when you get to the point where we have received an offer. So you're lucky you've got an offer in place now. You are going to incur expenses. You've gone for sale by owner to save money. I understand that. Keep in mind that you may be able to save money, but you may not be able to be able to do it completely for free. If there's a buyer agent involved and you decide to pay for them, or they have an arrangement, the buyer has an arrangement with their agent that they need to be paid and they're typically expecting the seller to pay that, you may agree to pay that. That's typically 2.5% to 3% of the sales price. Be aware of that. There can be attorney's fees. If you hire a real estate agent or a real estate attorney, There may be attorney's fees associated. There will be attorneys. We all know attorneys like to charge money. And then there could be title and recording fees. There could be tax transfer fees, all kinds of things like this. They're going to be expenses. So I suggest then that you hire a professional. If you've chosen not to hire a real estate professional, hire a real estate attorney. Hire someone who can negotiate, who understands the forms and the contracts, who can get you through to the end, okay? These fees may add up to about 4%. Now, typically a real estate agent might be in the ballpark of 6%. That means you're saving potentially a couple percent. Do I recommend this? I don't recommend it, but if this is the choice you've made to go this route, I understand. There's some real advantages to being able to get your home sold with a real estate agent who can market your home properly and be able to earn back that money that you're trying to keep for yourself by saving on when you do it yourself. But again, if you decide to go yourself, make sure that you're hiring a professional. You can pass the burden on to them of the legal and ethical issues that might arise, okay? And then the 10th step is finalizing the transaction. Okay, this is when closing, settlement, and recording occur. Okay, this is another step where these things are necessary evils that we have to be able to sell your home. There's certain steps that are involved, and we have to engage a title company if you want to be protected. They can issue title insurance, and they can take care of a lot of the recording aspects, the settlement aspects, and ultimately the closing. So make sure that you get in touch with a title company. Now, here's the thing. If you've decided that all these things are not working for you, or it's too much, you don't want to go this alone, please reach out to us. Our number's here in the description. You can find us on our website at altituderealestategroup.com. We have decades of experience doing this. This is what we do every day to feed our families and be able to take care of them. We have vast experience, and if this is something that you feel like you need help with, even just some pointers, please reach out to us. Let us see if we can walk you through it. And if you can't do it on your own, we'd love to help you take care of it and do the whole shebang. Good luck and take care.